Oh boy.
Here we go. We are not live, but we are recording.
We are recording outside today.
Yeah.
So that's exciting.
Yeah.
Bruce, you brought me here to your fantastic hotel that Ledcore put you up in.
Yeah. Shout out to Ledcore.
Shout out
Appreciate
to Ledcore.
it because,
I love Ledcore.
Because they put, so I travel around for work, for those that don't know, and in certain communities I have to go into the hotels and everything. So right now we're on Couch and Bay. And this is by far the best hotel I've ever stayed in.
I don't spend a lot of time in Couch and Bay. I've been here, what was it, last month? I came here for the first time. You showed me this place. And it's a great little place. It's got lots of fun businesses. It's beautiful here.
Yeah, it's
very
really
excited
cute.
to be here.
Yeah, it's awesome. Actually, this morning there's a bakery there. You had the bakery.
It's pretty good.
A little bakery, and it's all organic, and I've been getting coffee from there, and they even do their like organic sugar, organic cream, and you can just really taste it. Like you're like, this is just good for me.
It's like Starbucks coffee.
It's better than Starbucks
caffeine.
Yeah, I know, but yeah, the Starbucks coffee is crazy, man. Starbucks coffee is like crack. Consumerism crack.
It is. I really like it now.
Yeah. Sorry, Stratts.
I like it.
But this place, it's nice. I've been going there, getting a nice little $5 breakfast. I had this, it was like a white cheese swirl, freshly baked. It was still warm with like some nice tomatoes. It was
Oh, wow.
it was so good, man.
That sounds
so
good.
That and my
You're
coffee.
a lucky guy. No one else is going to be able to experience that ever.
If you want to go, it's in Couch and Bay, and there's a really good ice cream shop too that's right
good.
near it,
It is good.
and it's all homemade. So I really like these little businesses. Jess showed this place to me.
You should, yeah, I love Jess. We'll get her on one day.
Yeah,
But
I don't
Bruce-
think we ever will get her on. That was a
No,
false
we won't.
promise, actually.
No, I think I'll badger her enough that we'll get her on.
Good luck.
So Bruce, I did an episode last night with Logan. It hasn't
Yeah.
been up yet, but it'll be up by the time this is up. But you told me to come down here today. It was like a 30-mile drive, so now I'm here. We're recording an episode. What are we going to talk about today, man?
Dude, I have no idea.
Okay,
No,
well, that's awesome.
I'm just kidding.
No, I'm kidding too.
So yeah, I wanted you here because we haven't filmed a podcast together since the coach
It's
one.
been a while.
And you just filmed one with Logan, which is good. It's hard to stay on top of this kind of stuff.
The
But
thing that we really wanted to do lately, I really want to get a schedule because it's been a while since we've made one, and the whole idea is me, you, and Logan being together with those ones, which we haven't done even one time.
Mm-hmm.
So officially, once we do that, we'll try to do that a lot more often and get a schedule where we can at least do it once a week.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to talk to Logan about last night, and I just wanted to talk to you about it as well, but you weren't there, obviously, and all that stuff.
yeah.
But yes, we want to get it more schedulized.
Yeah,
Which would be
100%. So because we know you guys want to see more of it, so what we're
should
kind
wanna
of
see more of it.
You should. If you don't, you will. What we're trying to do here is, this podcast today, we kind of want to talk about like, the why we started it, what our values are with it, and what we're looking to do with it. And one of the biggest inspirations for us that kind of, whenever you're starting something new, you always want to find how you differentiate yourself.
Yeah.
How are you different from the other people? How are you more interesting? How are you more unique? Whatever it is. And one of the things we talked about is like, okay, a traveling podcast where you do a podcast in different locations.
Yeah.
I think so far, this is a great example. This is a really beautiful, it's nice, it's outdoors. We wanted to do one outdoors, which is pretty cool. When we did the podcast with Coach Stevenson, that was in the doghouse.
That was cool.
And that's been a big inspiration of it because eventually, as we start going into whatever path of life, I think it'd be cool to travel around the world and do it. Like we're talking about doing a South America trip in the next year and a half, 2 years. And I think it'd be a really great opportunity to be able to take these podcasts to all the places, talk about how we're experiencing the culture, funny stories or whatever. And ideally, if we could find a cool place, like I think this is a really beautiful setting.
Yeah, this is awesome. It'd be crazy to go to other countries and everything, but the first idea basically is just to talk to anyone that wants to come on in our own communities and everything, right?
Yeah.
That's obviously where it starts, but it could be cool to go cross country with this thing.
Yeah.
But even the person, this has happened before. Traveling podcasts aren't new. You know Chris Ryan, probably.
Yeah.
You probably know. You're probably not well acquainted with him, but I really like Chris Ryan. He has his own podcast, and he travels around in his van. Just going all around the United States talking to any interesting people. They just email him on his blog and they're like, dude, you got to come to Kentucky. There's this rattlesnake guy that just like owns 500,000 different types of rattlesnakes or something.
Super sweet.
You got to talk to him. And then he's just like, sure, I'll talk to the rattlesnake guy. And he shows up and they do a podcast just like this.
Is Chris Ryan kind of like a minimalist?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Because that would seem pretty minimalism
He's
inspired.
just he's a spiritual guy. He's friends with Duncan Trussell. He's I don't know if I would call him. I don't know a lot about. I haven't watched his podcast. I've watched clips of them.
Yeah.
But I haven't watched the whole thing. I just watched him on Joe Rogan stuff.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I don't know if he's a minimalist or not, but he's a cool guy. He's practical.
That would seem, if you were a minimalist, though, that would seem like a great way to do a podcast, operating out of your van, traveling to other people's locations and stuff like that. But as for, to echo off of what you're saying, having people in the local community, I think, just, whether friends or just interesting people, I think a lot of people have cool stuff to say. And like the one we did with Coach, I thought that was really cool because a lot of people just wanted to hear what Coach had to say.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? Not a lot of people get that opportunity to sit down and spend that much time doing it with him. And the other guests we bring on, whether our friends or anything like that, just people have some good value to add. And that's the whole thing, is we just want to put this out there, and if anyone's listening to it, we want to give them value.
Yeah, definitely.
If anyone's interested in doing this, maybe this can be an inspiration for them to join on and see if it's for them, and then maybe it's an inspiration for them to start their own thing.
Yeah.
And that would be something I'd love to support.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's if it makes anybody else start a podcast, that's awesome, because it's a really cool thing. Me and Logan talked last night on the podcast just about how the whole thing's a learning process.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, like how we had no idea what we were doing basically when the idea first entered our minds, and then there was a big stage of not doing anything, just thinking and sitting on that for probably 2 years.
Yeah.
Where we developed our intent. And then we developed our intent over those 2 years, and then eventually we lay out a plan of action. And the plan of action was us going to Best Buy basically one day and buying the mic.
Yeah.
And we talked a little about that yesterday. And it's a good experience. Just going through all that, learning what you want to do. It morphs a lot. Your first idea, it's a lot different than it was originally, obviously, because you got to make, what's the word I'm looking for?
Action.
Compromise. You got to compromise for some areas, right?
Yeah.
So you want to have it perfect, but you got to compromise.
Okay.
And we have really high standards with everything, just really low expectations. Just trying to learn as we go and get better every time, fix something every episode. Yeah. And that's what it's about, and it's really fun to do that, just learning and getting better every time.
Yeah, and this kind of, I'm going to take it to a different place, but it's still somewhat relative, is like, a lot of people are going through depression, like some people I know, some people just out in the world, and I think one of the best things you can do if you're going through a depression, or even just not even the word depression, if you're just in a sadness, in a stint, in a lull, whatever it is, a valley, exactly. Pick up a new hobby, and this is a hobby, and this is a hobby where we practice film editing, we practice taking feedback of other people and applying it to ourselves, and I think it's been incrementally better. We've been getting incrementally better every time. We've been getting more comfortable with it. And the thing is whenever I look at things like depression, valley, sadness, there's so many skills that you gotta that are out there for you to learn, and I think a lot of people get depressed because they get complacent in their current skills, and as soon as you start feeling like that, man, like, go jack some weight, find a new challenge, because you as a human being, you're meant to overcome these challenges.
Yeah, totally.
And if you're not overcoming any challenges, then you have to take responsibility and put them in front of you, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we had to do here. Like, it was a 2-year idea, right, where no action was happening, but everything just starts as an idea, and then you put an idea on paper, and then you make the purchases, and then
it's about making the decisions. And each decision you make gives you a little more sense of control and purpose. If you were to suffering with depression, that's kind of what helps you get out of that.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I took it to a different place just because it was inspired on. I listened to the Joe Rogan Jocko Willink one.
Yeah. That's a great one.
Yeah, it's a great one. I love Jocko. But yeah, that's kind of what inspired that topic, and it's just like, that's my kind of 2 cents on it. And battling with it in the past myself, whether it's a sadness or depression, just if you're going through any of that, just throw yourself at something.
Yeah, definitely.
Just throw yourself at something, and something that's meaningful to you.
Yeah.
Right? Because like, there's a lot of things people want to do, man.
Well, basically, if like, you just gotta chase your interests. If your curiosity, if you're curious about something, whether it be like astrophysics or marine biology, you can at least chase that curiosity and start asking questions online or whatever. And then eventually that curiosity that you're trying to chase cultivates into a passion. You know what I mean? And then eventually it becomes something that you're passionate about, and once someone has something they're passionate about, they can talk about it at length, they can do all these things, and they become a little more just, again, the words are tough for me.
Words are tough, man.
Sometimes there's particular words that are tough for me, but they just become more
diverse,
determined,
motivated,
I guess, and just the words that they're using and the talks that they give. Like this, I really want to just become a better speaker with the podcast. That was kind of one of my goals for
100%.
sure. 100%. One of the things I wanted to develop.
Public speaking is huge for sure. And the thing is like, Pursuing these, there's so many ways to pursue these habits, right? Like you said, or not habits, but hobbies, but like you said, pursuing them online, looking into it, diving, asking questions, and that can, and just, I'm saying this because you brought up things like marine biology, you know, that could go into, you can get interested in it and ask questions, set up meetings with professors or anything, like reach out to people, and that can start a schooling path for you.
Yeah, totally.
Right? And whereas someone like you and I, Ryan and I, I'm inspired by no university. There's nothing right now that inspires me to want to go to school, but there are interests I have that I'm not heavily pursuing, and perhaps if I pursued those interests to an extent, you know, set up a meeting with a professor, got inspired, maybe one day I would want to go to school, right?
Yeah.
And I think for, you know, a lot of people are definitely having problems in their career path is where they find they want to associate career with purpose.
Yeah.
And I think the big reason for association of that is you spend on average 8 to 9 hours at a job between commuting and doing the job itself. And so, when you're spending 1/3 of your day, and let's be real, probably 1/3 of your life, you should be passionate about it. So if you can link your hobbies and interests with what you have to do, because right now we live in a world where you have to go to work, you have to earn money, you have to, bottom line, those intrinsic values, they'll be really fulfilled for you.
Yeah, definitely. I was actually listening to a podcast today about school. I talked a little bit about it again yesterday, but the Minimalist Podcast just had a new episode all about school, and it's
cool.
So good. It was so good. They went into all types, all the areas. Right, it was really broad. They brought a guy over who he's starting his own business that's like. It's kind of like they're helping people with school or like start their business or career paths without school, basically.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. They network with people, like with professors, and get them in touch with that. It's really interesting. It's a really good episode. I would take a look, guys, if you haven't seen ever heard of the Minimalist Podcast. Definitely take a look. It's worth it. To where I started, but the school thing, if you just chase what you're passionate about, like, you don't need to go to school. Again, like, Logan has this cool job where he is actually making more money than all the other people that he works with that are nurses. They all went to school, and he's the maintenance man just because he's fixed stuff his whole life, and he's actually making more than them.
Yeah.
And, like, we talked about that, and that just blows his mind because nurses should be getting paid way more than a maintenance man.
Yeah, that's actually, like, a big crisis in BC right now.
It's
the amount of stress there's, like, I've actually been in relationships with a couple nurses or chicks going to school for nursing, and, like, you know, there's not envy, but like, and definitely not pity, but just a lot of respect, because I just know what they're going through. The schooling's tough. There's so many practicum hours.
The job is tough.
It's a tough job,
it's a crazy job.
But, you know, I'm not going to knock school. Like, there are certain things where if you want to get in that field, unless you are very competent and intelligent in this field, where you do need school.
Yeah, obviously, there's some things you have to go to school for, like a brain surgeon or a nurse, all that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Go to school, please, or don't operate on my brain.
Yeah, please, like, do not operate on my brain. I don't know, man. I'd let you operate on my brain. You just watch a YouTube video. You can watch a YouTube video on anything. How to do brain surgery.
Is it because you, like, I don't know, suicidal? You want me to operate on your brain? And just like, all right, I'll bring a spoon to the operating room. I think this is... Just start eating your brain. Like, what am I? Don't do that, Bruce.
Well, if we're directing a zombie movie,
don't let me operate.
Okay, I won't. Yeah, sorry, that was a bad idea. That was you know what? I'm not gonna lie. I'd say like 99.9% of my ideas are really good. Maybe not that one.
Not that one?
Yeah, maybe
that
not
one
that
squeaked through.
Yeah, they slip through the cracks sometimes.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
We have stupid ideas. That's what this podcast is for. Catching really stupid ideas.
Yeah, making fun of people for them.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I kind of wanted to talk about like some of our favorite podcasts too, about Joe Rogan, because he has like over 1,000 episodes. Like, we have some favorites.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, we kind of want. Well, I always like Duncan Trussell.
Yeah, Duncan's the man.
Yeah, he is the man. I was talking how some of my biggest role models are him, Duncan Trussell, Joe Rogan, Chris Ryan. All three of those guys are always on there. They have Shrimp Parade episodes. Every episode with all three of those guys is fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, take a look, go on the archives. If you can find those Shrimp Parades with Chris Ryan, Duncan Trussell, watch them.
So what do they talk about?
They talk about lots of stuff.
What are particular topics that really?
It's more of a spiritual. They're very, like, Duncan's a really spiritual guy, obviously, and Chris Ryan read a book. He wrote a book called Sex at Dawn. So he's like,
there's some people rowing back there.
They're rowing. They're going hard, but it's about like just like relationships and how it's it can be very different, right? It's just I really want to read the book.
Yeah, okay.
But it's just about all the different types of sexual relationships and how diverse it can be, and how like monogamy is not always the way. There's all these different ways.
Yeah.
It's a really good book.
Yeah.
And he's just a really practical guy that he's able to see stuff in a good perspective.
Yeah, for sure. And that's something too, if you're a person that like let's say you've been single for 5 years and you want a relationship, like read a few books on relationships, man. There's so much knowledge out there, right? And you just go get it.
Yeah, he's a crazy guy. He's talked about he's been in lots of open relationships. He's like married now, but he's like that guy's been on a journey, and he just talks about it all.
He's been really diverse with his relationship, so he's and that's why I like podcasts. I mean, I don't put them to the same extent as books, but you get to listen. One of my things is like, who do you listen to? Who do you listen to? Can you apply it to yourself if you like what you're hearing?
Yeah.
And something like that is like, go give it a listen.
Well, and Joe brings like professors on. He'll bring professors on that teach at universities, and like if you bring the right professor on, they have a little conversation, it could get people sparked in that interest, and they start going to school for that because the professor's there. Like it's just a crazy little medium, these podcasts, that just can develop so much opportunity for so many people and just spark so much creativity and imagination. It's just wild. Yeah,
I totally agree. Actually, one of my favorite podcasts, just while we're talking about professors, the easy one is Neil deGrasse Tyson. I mean, the guy's practically like a celebrity of the science world, but to go for one that's a little less mainstream, I listened to the Steven Pinker one. And he's a clinical psychologist, and that's stuff I'm really interested into because it's very applicable to my field of work, and I'm really interested in the communication of people. For you, it'd be interesting too because public speaking is a big. There's a lot of psychology to it, and
of course.
But yeah, that was one of my favorites to listen to because I found it was just really enlightening. There's a lot of things where you kind of scratch your head and you say, okay, like, why does this happen? Why is it like when someone says something in a room and like everyone's in disagreement with it, it just takes one person to say, no, we don't like this, and then everyone goes up and says, no, we don't like this, right? And it's just like the social psychology to that. I just think all that stuff is really interesting, and it's one of those things where, for me, psychology, whenever I hear stories like that or hear studies, I kind of look at it in my own life, and I'm like, it's like a huge light bulb moment. It's like, oh my God, like, yeah.
Well, because it's like another perspective entering your life, basically. You can kind of, just for that second when they're talking, you can kind of take their perspective and look at your own life. And be like, oh shit, I never looked at that perspective that before. And just like, and then the things just click. Like, really quickly sometimes. Straight up.
It was that was one of my favorites. And that's the thing is, like, what I like is Joe brings on something for everyone. And that's something we want to be doing. Like, we had Coach on. And that was by far our biggest guest so far. But we had you have Logan on. We want to get like Kyle is someone I want on. We want PD on, and like all those guys have something special bring to the table. Like what I love about having PD on is like he's a real woodsman. And like how Joe Rogan is a real woodsman, he can enlighten people on hunting and the values they get from it, and kind of how they started. PD started since he was a little kid, whereas Joe picked it up into his adulthood. And he used it as a tool of self-mastery. Whereas I don't know, I couldn't speak for PD why PD does it, but I think it's just enjoyment.
Oh god, it's cool. I really want to try hunting one day.
You want to go with him. He said bear hunting.
I want to go hunting. He told me to hunt bear. Like, let's go for a bear.
He said they're easy.
Apparently they are easy. I've heard that from multiple people, and it just sounds insane. His dad killed a bear with a longbow.
That's crazy.
He went
Tell the story.
Bear hunting with a longbow. It's like insane. That's like comic book stuff. Like, you don't even read about that kind of stuff.
Just to elaborate on the story, so PD's dad, Jason, he did this. And keep in mind, a longbow, from what I know about bows, a longbow is not as efficient as a bow. Yeah, for sure. It's not as efficient as a bow as a compact bow, right?
No, of course not.
Compound bow.
Or even a recurve bow.
It's
not even as fast as a recurve.
Not even a recurve bow. And how he made this bow and how he taught himself about bow hunting, because this was back in the day, pre-1994. No internet. He went to the library and did books and self-educated himself. And I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure PD said that his dad wasn't really taught this stuff when he was younger. So he's self-taught, and then you get to see how his self-education gets to affect his generation, or next generation being his next of kin. And that's really cool to go out and educate himself the way he did. It's crazy to imagine hunting a bear with a bow. Like, and he's done. I think he said he's killed 2.
Ugh.
Yeah,
it's insane.
Yeah,
couldn't imagine. That's a good story. We should have him on the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, like, the thing is like I could probably do something like that with my bare hands.
Yeah, of course. Like, the bear comes at me, I just, like, grab it with the mouth and just, like, snap its jaw.
Yeah,
like, easy.
Exactly. I don't know.
Easy.
Here's my thing, is, like, I've seen a ton of movies, so...
I've seen even more movies.
Yeah,
you guys ever seen The Edge? There's this movie called The Edge where Anthony Hopkins just straight up murders bears. It's badass. And
then there's the...
Doesn't look so hard.
There's the Gray... Then there's the Gray, that's Liam Neeson punching wolves.
I didn't watch that.
I didn't watch that either.
It didn't seem to catch me. Liam Neeson.
Yeah,
getting old.
Liam Neeson, I want to see more Qui-Gon Jinn. I'm pretty sure... I think Jess told me he's not going to be in any more movies.
His stuff kind of went downhill, to be honest. I'm a big Liam Neeson fan myself. It just kind of bums me out that his movies aren't very good anymore.
Yeah, Taken was sweet.
I didn't even watch Taken.
Taken was a good one, man. You gotta watch Taken, but they made like 3 of them.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And then the second one was the same movies.
They're all the same movie.
They're like, well, that's what I'd imagined, right? Like Jen said Taken 3 was good, but I'm just like, okay.
I can't get to Taken 3.
Like, let me guess. Okay, so Taken 1, he took his daughter. Taken 2, they take his wife. Taken 3, he's gonna take.
They take both of them. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they take both of them. That's perfect. It's like. And I'm like
double the ante.
And I'm sitting here on my job that makes me X amount of dollars, and I'm like, how am I not making millions writing shitty movies?
Oh, I wish I could write shitty movies. That's a dream of mine.
I just like some of them seem like they're like some movies, man. They seem like they're comically bad. Like I'm like,
yep.
Like, were they trying to make a mad movie? And it's like halfway through writing this good movie, this like movie that they were trying to make good, they're like, fuck, this movie's a shit show. So let's like really run this.
Justice
into the
League
ground.
was comically bad.
Batman vs Superman.
That was just tragically bad. That wasn't comically. That wasn't funny. I wasn't laughing that movie. I was just sad. I was just crying.
We were laughing though at the start of the movie.
At the first, like it was because she was shockingly such a bad start. It was funny. However, it kept that bad trend the whole movie, and then I was just depressed. However, Justice League was funny because it was so bad.
Yeah, filmmaking something you've been through the podcast been getting a little bit more passionate about.
Of course,
doing work with bishops. People have heard about.
Another big inspiration for both of us is Mr. Casey Neistat.
Yeah,
and some other people that he affiliates himself with. There's a huge that YouTube community is just getting so big, and there's so much inspiration from like literally everybody. You can watch any video and get inspired these days, and it's so cool to see.
What really gets me though is like as much as we're glorifying these awesome people, I always see the view count as high on like terrible things. And like I'll bring up the Lil Tay, and I see the view count like just as high.
Yeah.
And the subscriber count.
Well, it's a completely different audience too, right?
It's totally different audience, but like why? Like what? I want to know what inspires 1.6 million people.
Well, a lot of them are like little kids. A lot of views are little kids.
Yeah.
A lot of the views are little kids. Even on Casey's videos, a lot of them are like less than probably 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. Straight up.
Yeah, it's just a rough one for me. Well, and like, you know, on Instagram I see like adults glorifying it, and I see other celebrities and other YouTubers. Like I know there was one with like Jake Paul did a video with her, and he's like he's got a bunch of subscribers and whatever. And I just want to know like, you know, the incentive, because you know she's from Vancouver. Oh
yes, I did hear about this.
So I just want to know, like, man, I feel so bad for that little girl, and I'm not like, and a lot of people think that someone would be saying that out of jealousy. I have to honestly say I'm really not. Her mom's a real estate agent in Vancouver. I dig through the wormholes because I'm just like, how is this? Like, how is we as society
it's all fake,
like,
for the most part. That's how it started. Well, yeah,
that's how it was. She's a real estate agent in Vancouver, so she through her clients and networks and like obviously in Vancouver people have a lot of money, so she's getting she's able to film videos with these expensive cars with her clients and expensive houses and stuff, and flexing this fake cash, and I just don't know the inspiration, and you see it, and we just keep it, and it's a constant repeat, and
because people like seeing success these days. People are obsessed with success,
but there's different levels of success to be seen. Like, you know, go watch Gary Vaynerchuk. Why are you like, that's not a success. This is just this was literally a fake it. She faked it till her mom faked it till she made it so well that they actually made it. And it's not like it's just
That's
horrible.
the thing. But people are into like what they made. People are into that right now.
I just don't get it.
I don't get it either. But people like that shit.
Yeah.
People because they like it. People just want to be successful, and they just think. Sometimes I think it's easy. Like for some, I don't know. Like it's a really weird thing. It's a really weird thing.
It's just the concept of a 9-year-old pretend. Like we all know it's pretend.
Like who cares,
like,
right?
You all know
like
it's
no one should give.
It sucks because I've chased this rabbit hole so many times. Like I've probably seen all the videos, so I'm like contributing to this view count that I hate. But like I just like I'm like I had to just take in the data and just like try and empathize with people to see like what people actually like about it.
Yeah.
And also what really gets me is a lot of celebrities like that other YouTuber, like I know there's rappers and stuff, and they're posting the Instagram and it's like they're adults, you know? So they're literally like glorifying this really bad parenting thing.
Oh yeah.
And they're like it's like where's your head at? Like come on, man. Like you're someone with a big enough scale.
Well, because a lot of those guys don't care. And they just want it to be, they want the views and they just want money. Like a lot of them are like that Jake Paul, Logan Paul guy.
Yeah.
They're not doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Like they're not cool, man. They're not cool.
Yeah.
Like they got into a Twitter fight with Chris, like the Logan Paul the other day tried to get into like a Twitter battle with Chris D'Elia, a comedian, a friend with Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
For no reason, just like started thrashing Chris D'Elia, and Chris D'Elia just comes back because he's a comedian and just like thrashes him hard.
Yeah.
And Logan Paul just gets destroyed because he's not funny. He's just a guy on YouTube who just tried to get famous with all the stuff that they know how to do, but they're not actually that talented or funny, right? And Chris D'Elia is, and they just roasted him.
That's awesome that he did that. I guess I don't, because like, you know, I've had the opportunity to interact with a lot of people over the last year and a half through my career. Like there's a high fluctuation with the amount of interactions I have to have in a day, and I can genuinely say I meet a lot more nice, good, genuinely good people than bad people. And it always seems like this, like it's a yin and yang complex, right?
Yeah.
And it's like there's somehow a tipping scale where these bad people that don't have these morals, and it's like, why don't you have those morals? And they're always on par with the good, and I just don't get it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
they're succeeding without the right morals.
Exactly.
But that just helps people make money sometimes. You know what I mean? Because that's what it is. There's a weird world out there, but people can be cutthroat, can succeed.
Yeah.
They just don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Some people just don't give a fuck about anyone. Like literally.
Yeah.
And that's easy. It's easy to get a fight when they don't give a fuck about other people.
And I think the best way to treat that is like, as much as I don't understand it, I try and treat it with empathy.
Yeah.
And it's just, you know, it's an unfortunate thing, and I ask, like, I don't know these people obviously. But I'll work with people that are like really into that kind of scene and into watching those videos, and I'll say like, why do you like that?
Or even people that like to watch all that Kardashian shit.
Yeah,
because that's a real thing. People
like,
will having lunch but like people that I know will like get together with their moms or something, and I'll be there for lunch, and they'll start talking about the Kardashians or something. They'll be like, "Have you seen the newest thing with Kim?" And oh my god, and I'll be like, "Oh my god, see you later." And I'll just get the hell out of there. That's a real thing.
I do my best not to judge, and what I try and do, what I actively try and best, and I'm sorry if I sound like I'm judging these people.
Yeah.
If I sound like, if you like watching, if this brings value to your life, I just want to know why. So that's what I do.
What does it give you?
I ask these people, I'm like, why do you spend time keeping up with the Kardashians, right?
He said it.
Like why? Like what does it bring to you? Like, is it just entertaining? Like, is seeing a dysfunctional family with a lot of money entertaining?
Yeah.
And is that
do you learn any lessons from it?
If that's it, then I'll leave you to it. Like, I really will. But like, it's just I do my best to understand it. I do my best to empathize, because like, oh man, I could imagine being a celebrity. It would be extremely difficult.
Yeah, but we don't have to understand it, because there's just so many different types of people.
That's just it. And I love a quote from one of my favorite cartoons, Adventure Time, is people get built different. We don't have to understand it. We just have to accept it.
Yeah,
and
totally.
I got to take my favorite cartoon's advice there.
I love cartoons.
I love cartoons.
Yeah.
I love cartoons so much. I could talk about them forever. We could do a podcast.
You know what's crazy is
cartoons.
we're almost done.
It's been a good conversation.
Yeah, this kind of flew by. Probably to wrap it up though, podcast wise, we're just excited.
Yeah,
we're just excited for the future.
We're excited, and you know what, guys? Like, genuinely, I can say it means a lot to us. Like, the views, the compliments or comments or critiques, every little bit means so much to us. Like, you guys, I can't even put it into words. So, you know, it's if it's not too far for me to ask, give us a like, give us a share, subscribe to the YouTube channel, give us a word of mouth, ask to come on the podcast, ask questions about it.
Yeah, anyone can come on the podcast. Yeah, that's awesome.
It's an open invitation, like, straight up. There's not a single person we don't want on it. And if we think it can, you know, we just want to bring value. That's the end of the mission, is to just bring value to our local community right now, and hope our local community can rally up, support us enough maybe to bring value to more people.
And we have high standards.
High standards, low expectations.
Definitely.
Yeah. So give us a like, comment, share, subscribe, whatever it is. Your YouTube channel is just Ryan Stratton.
Ryan Stratton.
So just Ryan Stratton. The podcast name right now is the StratOCast. Apparently a name change may be in the works.
You can still find it if you just search up StratOCast, of course.
Yeah,
but
sure.
It's also going to be on, my next thing is going to be putting on Anchor and Spotify.
Cool.
Yeah,
nice.
Anchor and Spotify should be, these last 2 episodes should be there soon. It'll be on YouTube first, and then I'll work to get them on those platforms.
That's awesome.
But that's where we're going to be, I think.
Cool. Yeah. Awesome. Well, yeah, thanks a lot for everything, and I think we gotta give the people something, Ryan.
What do we got to give them?
I want to give them
the guns. But even though I think our camera's dead, but we just gave them the guns, and everybody knows what the guns means, obviously, because that's like our signature thing here on the StratOCast.
Yeah, do your best to picture us pointing fingers at you.
We do it all the time.
Thanks a lot, guys.
All right, thanks, guys. Take it easy. I'll see you next time.